So this is really cool story, right? So
Uh-huh.
you know, David Cage likes to be creepy with Ellen Page, right? There's all that stuff, the books and all that. We talked about it before. There's
Really?
another one. There's another one I ran across. Real good.
Okay.
So Ellen Page actually sued Quantic Dream because without her permission, they nude modeled her body for the game for Beyond Two Souls without her permission. So there was just like nude, model of her out on the internet. And that was totally David Cage's doing, 100%. It was his call. And yep. So there's another creepy story for you. Get that in. Just kind of sweep that right under the rug.
Cam, did you just start the podcast with a creepy story about David Cage?
Yes, I did. In fact, good reason too, because David Cage is kind of a creep.
Huh. Well, speaking of David Cage, Nick, go right ahead.
So, Beyond Two Souls did okay. Heavy Rain did okay.
It did great, boss.
Game idea. What can we do?
Ooh.
As your other advisor, Tyler, and Cam over there, I don't know why I'm referring to him because I'm my own person. We're of equal position. I say we make a new game. And we put robots, the robots. And they can do stuff. They can do stuff. Like cook and I guess have prostitution rings. Yes, we can do. What do you think, David? It's prostitution rings. Android prostitution rings.
I think too.
Not human prostitution rings because that's terrible.
No, that's different.
I'm gonna say never do that.
No, never do that. But we need, very important, right? So androids, we got to make a story about androids. And I know you, David Cage, you're a genius. You don't want to.
Well, of course.
Steal my thunder over here with my android idea.
Any historical references. We don't want to. We want to rely on your genius solely. We don't want to do any sort of reference.
They're all original ideas, not borrowed from anywhere.
Let's repeat American history.
No, we can't do that. What we need to do is have the androids, but we put them in the back of buses. We borrow them from certain places. No, it's not. No, it's not racism. It's androids. It's not at all a reference. I know we're in Detroit, but it's fine.
I like it.
And well, yeah, Detroit. Detroit's definitely the setting, 100%.
Really? But why Detroit?
Well, because well, you see, I mean, there was some civil rights stuff there, but you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. It's the obvious choice.
Let's put it right next to. It's right next to Canada, and Canada was very well known for a migration of slavery to freedom.
Yeah, we can have.
It needs to have a place where they can run away to,
like a rail or something.
It's not slavery.
Well, I mean, right now in present day Detroit, it's like terrible. It's run down. It's declared bankruptcy like 3 times. We can't do it in present day.
No, so we can do it in the future because then we're going to get infusion of cash and tourism.
Hold on. We're going to the future for this, yes, but how many years in the future? Because androids are pretty advanced. Androids are pretty advanced, so we don't want to. We want to make sure we have enough time to to go from here to androids. It's very important to get that in.
How many years do you think?
Clearly 20 is fine. I mean, we don't have androids now, but 20 years we'll have fully functional human androids that are just completely like humans, right?
25 years. That's more than enough time.
Definitely.
I mean,
we hit Segways in 2010. We'll get the androids in time.
No, perfect. That's
so 20 years from now.
Fictional drugs. I want some red ice in that.
Yeah, fictional drugs.
Yeah, because everybody loves the fictional drugs.
These are great ideas, guys. Keep them coming. But remember, we're not borrowing.
No allegories.
No allegories whatsoever. We can't do any allegories about racism.
Original ideas only.
Ooh, I haven't done that since Heavy Rain. Even that was a stretch. Did we do the one with the ghost as the second personality that helps the main character one?
Yeah, we did that. But what if? Okay, can we? We can put something supernatural in, right? That makes sense. Yeah. I'm sure we can. Maybe that always works. They love it. You're a genius, David Cage. You're a genius.
Thank you. It's all my doing only.
No, we know.
David Cage, we got a great game in hand. What are we gonna call it?
Well,
so we have these androids,
right?
Yeah.
And they're only allowed to do certain things, but no allegories at all.
No, nothing. No reference to slavery. No,
and people don't really. I would imagine people don't really like them because, they're taking people's jobs.
And they're not human. And
they're not human.
Yeah.
So what if the goal of the game is for them to become human.
Okay. All right.
Wait for this. And because it's set in Detroit. Detroit, become human.
Oof.
Here we go.
Oof. You're a genius. You're a madman. You're crazy.
My work is done. I'll wait for my check at the end of the month. Thank you.
A visionary. All right, that's that. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was waiting for a pause. That way we can officially start the podcast. But Cam, bless you. You love to fill it up. Everybody, welcome to Casual Master Quest number 3. We are at number 3. Oh, man. The only podcast that can give you the true view of Detroit, both in present day and in the video game future.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I Tyler Vidito at 2x Tyler on Twitter fame. I go to Detroit every single weekday. So
really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I am a truck driver, so I get the joys of delivering, pool parts and chemicals inside Detroit, every single day for the most part. Occasionally I'll go to other cities like Indianapolis, but Detroit, that's pretty much my stomping grounds for pool stuff. But I mean, geez, how rude of me! I didn't even introduce my ace team.
How could
my
you?
A team? I know, right?
I'm hurt. Hey, what's
Cam
up?
of Detroit become human fame, and then of course Nick of Detroit become human fame. Also, we all have webcams now. We're official. Everybody gets to see our big, beautiful selves. You get to see my trashy house. You get to see the beautiful Nick hairstyle with the Captain America hat. And then you got to see this ghastly Vita collection over at Cam's. But you know what? He's good looking. So, it kind of makes up for it.
One will hope.
Oh, man. Well, as I'm sure everybody can, piece together, take a wild guess. We're going to be talking about a certain game, of, Detroit become human fame.
Yep.
And we'll dig into that very, very soon. But for now, let's get the little stuff, the daily life out of the way. Nick, what have you been doing, my friend? What have you been playing?
Nothing new, really. It's been a really busy week with school.
Yeah.
So a little bit of Overwatch. Actually, I've been playing a lot more Destiny 2 this week. I put in quite a bit of time to Destiny 2 this week, and I've been having fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm shameful to admit it, but I've been having fun.
You're going to have fun at Destiny 2? No way. Impossible, bro.
It's, they said it couldn't be done, but I did it.
Mm-hmm. You just also have to live with the shame a little bit. It's part of the experience, but hey.
Better than having any regrets, right?
Yeah,
If you're having a good time, you're having a good time. And hopefully, do you have a team of people that you get to play with a little bit? Or is it
occasionally, but just mostly solo right now. Because
that stinks, man.
I feel like because I finish up school at like 12 nowadays. So I'm at home by 1:30. So not by 1:30. What am I saying? I'm at home by 12:30. So from 12:30 to about 1:30, I'm just winding down. And so I'll be on.
Wait, midnight or?
Yeah, midnight.
Okay, just making sure. It's like, I got out of school at noon. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, I have a 10:30 to 12:30 class. I'm exhausted. I'm done for the day.
Flashbacks.
No, like 3 days this week. I've been there from 10:30 to about 9:30 at the earliest. Otherwise, I'm out by 12:30. So, bit of a crazy couple of weeks. 3 more weeks to go, and then I'll be done. Well, a little bit more relaxed.
Cam.
Hey, what's going on?
Cam. How's it going, buddy?
It's good. What's that? It's good.
Futuristic Detroit hand sign. Actually, probably shouldn't do that. That might be.
No, we don't want to do that. That probably
the peace sign is retrograde at this point.
I'm sure whatever that is also an allegory for something. So.
Yes, I'm sure. Oh boy. What have you been playing, man?
So I got, of course, on Detroit a little bit. I know this week's been very busy. We actually got an early review copy for my other project of Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle from Arc System Works.
Nice.
So we've been hammering away at that, trying to get a review squared out, doing some early preview streaming of that sort of thing. So for me, it's tough because I don't really play fighting games, and I really have to lean on my friends in the project who really do. Right. So I've had to kind of really go outside my comfort zone and jump on fighting games for that. So that's been a time.
You got a favorite character for it? I don't know any, so you could names at this point.
It's a big crossover game, so it has characters from Persona 4 Arena, has characters from Uriel. Yep, has characters from BlazBlue.
Does it have Chie?
Yeah, it has Chie.
Oh,
it has Chie.
Oh, baby.
But I've actually been using Noelle Vermillion, which is a character from BlazBlue. She was really, really good in what we were just testing out yesterday. We did a little stream of that. And, of course, Chie and you from Persona, because I played a little bit of Ultimax and Arena and that sort of thing. So, yeah, mostly just doing that. I'm playing my Emerald Randomizer. We started that on Monday. And not too much besides that.
BlazBlue cross tag battle. What system is that on?
So that's coming to Switch and PS4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say Vita, just because another reason, but you know,
a little too late for that these days, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for the big releases at least.
How's your Pokemon Emerald run going?
Great, dude. I will say that was probably one of the most fun experiences I had with streaming that actually right on Monday. We had so much engagement. We were coming out, you know, talking a ton. We had, you know, the adventure of Bad Meat began, my character Bad Meat, and my starter Huge Coward. And we got very lucky and we've made some progress. So
Huge Coward, is that your spiel or?
No, that's my starter, Huge Coward. She's a huge coward. I don't.
Yeah, that was a fun playthrough, Cam. I watched a bit of that. That was really fun.
It was a good time. Yeah, we're gonna continue that on Monday too. So
now I gotta watch. What time on Mondays do you usually stream it?
That's gonna be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so I would be out of state, but you know I would be in a hotel room, lonely at night. So you know I could spend some time with one of my buddies.
Yeah, you got to cuddle up with randomizers, you know.
Plus, hopefully by then I'll have my PlayStation Vita, which, ladies and oh, there goes my phone. Anyways, yeah, I knocked the phone out of the way. You know, modern day technology, something higher classes come out.
It's true.
For the video listeners or watchers, I have the PlayStation Vita. It's the original model. I have had it for a while, but I never found a use for it. However, Cam has somehow managed to talk. Like my best friend's been trying to he pretty much gave it to me for free. He couldn't convince me to actually play it, but Cam somehow re-sparked the fire. And I think it was mostly Persona 4. Like, man, I missed you. Yep. And so I was getting ready to play it. I was like, man, I can't wait to take over the road. Oh, I don't have the charge cable. Let me just grab it. Oh, nope, I can't use my USB charge cable because it's not micro USB.
Proprietary.
It's a proprietary thing. Now, the bad news is I don't think you can find that anywhere new.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely...
you'd have to find a warehouse in China pretty much to get that. The good news is nobody wants one, so they're easy to find on Amazon.
Yep.
So I managed to score one for $10. It should be here next Tuesday. So next Tuesday. In the meantime, God forbid, I play a little game called Detroit Become Human, game of the year.
Yeah, we got to do that.
I haven't heard of that game.
Or Persona 5. Oh man. Now that is a game. And it's so weird because there's half-hour segments where it's like, I hate this game. I want to get through this segment. And the other one's like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I did not get much further. I'm probably at I think the 13-hour mark. I've completed the first palace. So I defeated Shadow Kamoshida. And I was very happy when, it's like, oh, you're going to get almost an entire week just to do whatever the heck you want. And it's like, actually, no, you'll probably won't, because you have pre-scripted events that you have to do for yourself that won't give you any bonuses. It's like, oh, at least I get an item that gives me 30,000 gold, but they're gonna have a 5-star buffet over at a hotel that costs 24,000 yen. Right, and it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Just take the win out of my sales.
Yeah, that's really, I think, only gonna be for that one scripted wise like that. But it's also kind of a difference I have between 4 and 5. Most people like Persona 5 much more. It's definitely more accessible in terms of being a mass market appeal thing right now. Yeah. But for me, Persona 4 was a lot more about the character interactions and a lot more about the social links and going on adventures with friends and actual friendship and that sort of thing. Whereas Persona 5, they focus so much on the story that they even make fun of the fact that they haven't been doing too much friend stuff. So my preference is for 4 over that because I like that stuff a little bit more. But yeah.
And I was talking about this whole idea of multiple things that you juggle in this game. I was not experiencing them until this point, to how far I realized, because now I got a job. I work at a convenience store. I got to learn to juggle when I can raise my charm or my guts, and I can only do that on certain days, and especially on Thursdays or Mondays and Fridays, and when it rains. And it's weird because all the stat boosting stuff I tried to do has been giving me next to squat. I've gotten 1 level 2 now. It's like I can't talk to Anna anymore because she does. It's like, oh, you need to have level 2 in this and level 2 in that. It's like I'm never going to get those for at least a month or 2, and by then I wouldn't even care anymore.
Yeah, it takes a long time to level things up, but you really have to look into optimizing how to do it, definitely. Right. Honestly, I would suggest 100% if you're playing Persona 5 and you want to do the social link dating route, to just look up ahead of time what stats that girl needs and go right for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because keep in mind, you have a year, basically. In-game, you have basically a year to build up all those stats. So
right, because I might have Googled Persona 5 best waifu, and it popped up a result of the list of all the characters, and I'm looking like, oh, that's a cool character. Oh, Hikamori kind of Futaba. I was like, wait, Makoto. Makoto. And it's like Makoto may not be a chie, but she has a little bit more sass. I've barely met her in game. Like I kind of had like a light looking to see, what's her story? When am I going to get to see her? It's like, actually, I might be able to get to see her very soon, and I'm excited for that. But in the meantime, it's like, well, if you want to actually talk with her, you got to raise your charming up pretty high. And it's like, all right, bathtubs it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna go.
You gotta get sexy.
I'm gonna sit nude with a bunch of old men on Mondays and Thursdays in my medicinal baths.
That's how you do it.
And
that's the trick.
That is Persona 5. I have not seen who my next target is officially. I don't know. I unfortunately haven't been able to play it for the past few days just because of how busy I am. And then when I finally get free time, Game of the Year, Detroit Become Human comes on the table. It's like, crap, I guess Persona 5 is going to sit. I'm just worried because I know if I put a game off for more than the week, it almost drops the chance of me picking it back up to like maybe 10%. Yeah. It's a really scary cycle because I know once I go back, it's like, oh man, I forgot how to do this. I forgot how to do that. I got to relearn stuff and I get really discouraged. Or I could play a movie game. And
or you could watch the movie game.
I can watch a movie game. Is there any other games that you guys want to talk about the old topic of the show?
No, I think I got everything out in terms of Emerald, in terms of Blaze Blue. I mean, for the Blaze Blue thing, like we're kind of what's it called? We're gonna have that review out when release comes. So we have to put out then basically. So we can't talk extremely about it until then, but we can just show off some small stuff and stream and that sort of thing. So we can play some verses. It's definitely really, really fun. The one thing I really like about it over other fighting games is a lot of fighting games these days will have tag mechanics where you have multiple characters and you tag in and out basically. They'll always recover basically a little bit of health if it's in the red bar. When you tag out, they get to rest. But in this game, you have basically unlimited tags. So you can tag as much as you want. And the assists are on a crazy cooldown as well, which usually isn't the case. Usually the cooldown for assists in other games is like, 20
were you talking like Marvel versus Capcom? You just push a button and they charge right in?
Yeah, but the cooldown on it's like 4 seconds, 3 seconds. And it just, I really adore having that much tag ability and just being able to switch out like that. Because you can cover your entrances with it. You can cover your defense with it. There's so many different ways you can use it that, I'm having a great time with that. So
yeah, it sounds like a fun combo system.
I never really experienced a style like that besides Marvel versus Capcom.
Yep.
I think the PS2 one. So 2, I guess.
Well, they've been all released on a few things for now. So
yeah, arcade 2, whatever. Yeah. But I think really when I heard of that style system was Naruto Ultima Ninja Storm.
Yeah.
Or Ninja Storm, whatever. I think it's called Ultimate Ninja Storm.
It is. Yep.
You can pick any character you like, and if you want 2 more characters that you really like, you can throw them on your side. They can do cool other side stuff, and it's so satisfying knowing when your opponent or usually your friend is going to rather do something ridiculous, and you just you push the your shoulder buttons, all of a sudden 2 jerk offs just come in and like, hey, we're going to ruin your day.
Oh yeah, ruin everyone's life. It's the best.
It's so satisfying too. Okay, guys, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for this. Let's do it.
We've been getting around the potatoes and veggies of this. I think we need to go straight into the dessert because who needs meat? Because androids.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, plastic. We're gonna have to get into the plastic dessert of this.
Okay.
Don't bite into this ice cream cone. We are going to be talking about Detroit Become Human, guys.
The cake is a lie, though.
Is that your allegory for how you feel about Detroit Become Human? Because we do not support allegories in this.
Yeah, no allegories.
No, I was just promised cake earlier this weekend, and I didn't get it, so it's a lie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's your birthday today, isn't it, Nick? Happy birthday.
No, not today.
Happy birthday, Nick.
3 days ago. Birthday, but thank you very much. Yeah.
It's been your birthday
today. It was my birthday last episode too. Thank you very much.
2 podcasts in a row. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. That's pretty crazy. It's rare that happens,
Birthday lucky plus. Man. Shoot, where do we start? Okay, Cam, did you like this game?
Not any more or less than I expected. Is the best way to put it.
Okay, how high was the bar set for you?
So what I expect is kind of what I talked about in previous weeks, where the game will be visually beautiful. It will, reach the uncanny valley. Probably it's going to take full advantage of the hardware. It's going to look great. However, that's going to hide the David Cage writing, which is going to be the least subtle thing, as subtle as a train wreck, basically. And that's kind of what I expected. So he's very good at setting up story threads and then not kind of bringing them home. So my expectations were that it was going to start relatively strong, but there's going to be a lot of very, very ham-fisted, very pushed story elements that weren't subtle whatsoever. There was going to be a lot of historical references, even though he said there weren't going to be. And then I was thinking, and I'm not sure because I'm not that far in, but I still believe maybe, I don't know if there's going to be a supernatural element, but there always is. He hasn't done a game yet where there isn't. So I'm thinking it might come eventually. And I'm just waiting for the drop. Just waiting for the drop.
Nick, what do you think, buddy? You say you're a couple hours of at least taking a look at it.
As a Telltale game, it's fantastic. Like as a, you know what I mean? Like it's
a storyline driven game.
Yeah, it's really good in the sense that it really pulls you in, and it does some things to make you care about the characters. A lot of the character stereotypes, though, are very much overdone. Like you've seen them in previous movies before. You kind of expect how things are going to play out in some cases, but put that together with the visuals of the game, and considering the fact that it's a video game, I enjoyed watching it. I did have a few issues with the timeline. Like you get to see in that particular chapter or whatever how your decisions affected things and what the other decisions could have been. And my biggest takeaway from this game is that ruins the immersion more than anything else, because why don't you just let people come back and play through again and again and let them be violent this time if they were like careful and safe the first time? Right. I think that's my biggest issue with the game.
You don't like to see the barriers or like the layout, like what could have been done, because in your head you'd like to think that maybe there's a million different opportunities or decisions.
Yeah, and I like show people that layout once they've unlocked every possible ending, right? Okay. Maybe just to give an idea that there is more that you can do, right? Like an unlockable loading screen, something where people can still keep playing and still figuring out, all right, what could I have done differently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because how it's set up now, basically, it shows the action you took, of course, and it also shows the opposite action, or you can assume in many cases the opposite action, because it'll say like took the keys, and then there'll be a question mark, and it's like, well, I wonder what.
Yeah, I wonder what also took the keys, but they blew up.
Yeah. So it definitely does. The endings are kind of where it leads in the end is kind of suspect. You never really know, but they do kind of show every option just through implication, and that's fine if it's an option, but they do show it to you. Pretty much every time. It'd be fine if there's an option you could look at, like a VN, for example, where a VN will show that when you go back through episode select and say, okay, I want to get this ending, I want to see if there's an ending here and all that. But they show it at the end of each part. And for people who want to be immersed that way and don't want to know what all the other possibilities were and want to go through multiple times, that is kind of a barrier, definitely.
Okay, so am I the only person in the group then that thinks that this game could be a potential contender for Game of the Year?
Yep.
Wow. Because I am there were points where I was tearing up playing this game in the very beginning. Not so much in the middle of the end, but maybe it was because I was not anticipating what I'd have to see. I had the old culture shock, I guess, because I haven't been in Detroit long enough to be in there in 2030 or whatever.
Yep,
I think it's like 2036 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 2038. I think it's straight 20 years.
So that being said, I love this game. There's been a couple of things that, I've been kind of grungy about, and it's the traditional David Cage movement system. Sometimes these characters don't want to go which way you're holding the thumbstick, and it's staring the opposite direction. Like, do they want me to move?
Yeah.
I'll walk sideways. And it's like, okay. And then there's, some pathfinding issues. I had trouble getting into doors. Yep. There was a stairway I tried going up. In fact, I couldn't walk to the stairway. And so an invisible wall stopped me. That was nice.
Nice.
Well, you know what, Tyler? You have a different opinion, so you must be wrong.
Definitely. Assuredly.
Yeah. Mine has a lot to do with, so when I talk about the writing of the game, and what I want to try and explain is in regards to the subtlety thing, right? So when I say that, he's as subtle as a train wreck and all that stuff, nice. What I'm more talking about is, this game is not what he thinks it is. because he came in, of course, and said he didn't want to do historical references. He was making a story about androids. It wasn't, it shouldn't be construed that there's any correlation between this and the modern day or anything like that, or any sort of historical thing. But he's so heavy-handed with it that, he'll put androids in the back of a bus. He'll just have, you'll be walking around and some dude will be like, oh, look, another tin can, and start kicking you, and just kick the shit out of you. And it's kind of like that's really, really blatant, to the point where it's kind of, the best way to put it for me, I think, is that when you want to show sympathy, if you want to show sympathy in a subtle way and make it so that it's like a deeper and more nuanced experience, they're kind of heavy-handedly making you feel for the characters, because what they're doing, rather than saying a good example being, you walk by a homeless person bit in the game, and he has a sign that says, homeless android took my job. That's reasonable. I think that's a nice little, aside. They didn't really focus on it too much. It was just there in passing. I think that's the sort of stuff you want to push. You want to push the idea that some people might see them as just appliances, but everybody's treating them like they're literally Hitler. And everywhere you go, everyone's kicking the androids. They're punching them. They're swearing at them. They're, pushing them in dirt, just doing whatever they can to be the worst possible people they can. And that's the way they're garnering sympathy for your characters, is by everybody else is just really, really terrible. And that's not like a nuanced way of doing things.
It does freak me out because in the southern regions, and obviously I can't tell you because this is based in the future. Yeah. Racism in a larger extent, unfortunately, it's more abroad. It's there. Up in Detroit, in some areas, yes, I've seen it. I've witnessed it. Obviously, I'm not there enough to say that, I don't know, a survivor or conveyor of it or whatever, but it's not as prominent in such a widespread way as it is in the South. However, as you said, in 20 years, apparently we are no longer racist against actual races. We are just super racist to the robots.
And that's part of the illusion being broken for me in terms of the writing, is because, it's only 20 years in the future, and it's so blatant and open android racism in the game, with straight everything, because we talked about historical references, but there's an underground railroad. They're putting things in the back, they're putting the androids in the back of the bus. They're doing all this, right? And it's very clearly a reference to slavery. Very clearly a reference to slavery.
No, obviously. It's not, Cam, but it's not, Cam.
But not at all.
Clearly not.
And you wonder, for the people in that world, do you not have any sort of consciousness to recognize, wow, hey, look how blatantly we are oppressing the androids, even if they are appliances. Nobody's there. Nobody has the foresight to be like, you know what? This feels a lot like the one time we did that in the past, and that was not that great. It'd make much more sense, honestly, if the type of oppression you're seeing in the game for the story was a good example, right? So, like I said, the case where the homeless man, yeah. A case where potentially, because they do homework, because they're appliances, basically, because they don't quote unquote have souls, you could see a few scenarios where humans won't thank them, or they might say thank you to somebody else, or excuse me. They won't do that to androids, right. Or they might avert their gaze, or not kind of treat them as a personage, but they're treating them like they are beings, but beings to be bullied and beings to be ridiculed at any opportunity. The best way to put it is that 90% of the game's characters, except for the main characters, are all terrible, horrible people, and that's the way they push the sympathy, rather than through any sort of societal commentary. They just do it as heavy-handed as possible.
There's dozens and dozens of humans in the game. I can name 3 people I can think of right now that are actually neutral to not hostile, which is pretty the same thing to the robots. It seems like if there's so many robots and people keep buying them, why does everybody in this game hate them?
They're so hostile.
They're humanizing them specifically to be bullied, as Cam said. It's weird. Honestly, thinking about it, if I ever owned an android like that, forget about being nice. It would never cross my mind to spend time and energy on a moving appliance and beat them, right? And to attack them or abuse them, because it just seems like a waste of energy. Right?
It's very bizarre. It's like they're trying to get the best of both worlds in terms of the oppression and get that sympathy in, but it doesn't actually coalesce at all.
I mean, the 2 early examples of outright violence against the androids is the first one is pretty much near the beginning. One of the characters is trying to get on his way to get to the bus, and he goes by a group of protesters. One of those, they took their jobs, the kind of stuff, shaking their signs and stuff. They see the poor guy, and they start pushing around like, "Hey, look, a tin can." Yeah, okay, it's corny.
Yeah, and then they start pushing
around.
No, but at least, but that kind of makes sense though. Like you would imagine if you have a bunch of angry people protesting something, and at protest, they would need to be a target, right?
True. I mean, if they were mad at a moving trash can, the trash can replaced all our janitor jobs, and they see a moving trash can. Are you not going to kick that trash can? Of course you will.
Tyler, let me tell you about Roombas.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the evil, the most ultimate of moving trash cans.
They must be destroyed.
Oh man, they took our jobs.
But yeah, it's so bizarre just in terms of how they you're never sure and I don't really know how much they're going to explore it either, because I don't know if I trust David Cage to really explore it, how the androids function in terms of being sentient. Like, how are they sentient and how sentient are they? Because we get the impression that they're all programming basically, right. And yet despite that, we see them very much being aware of the fact that they do not enjoy being bullied and oppressed and that sort of thing. Like, they clearly have emotions. So what's going on here?
It's weird because the first half hour, it kind of portrays it kind of like, everybody's obedient. They got, 2 levels below full sentience. And also it's like, we accidentally hit the breaking point where Detroit's starting to have a bunch of deviants, which they call the people that have, they start having so many different lines of logic going through their brains that it gets jumbled up in their head, and people translate that as them having emotions, whether or not they're actually having emotions or if it's just too much logic for them to handle. You be the judge.
Yeah, we'll find out. Or if it's ghosts, it still could be ghosts. You never know.
That is, could be ghost. I was going to say the other example, and I'm starting to realize what you're meaning by how would they kind of overdo it.
Yeah.
The second example I see is where the guy gets violent with the robot. Some crappy son wants money, and it's clear that he has a drug problem, and the father has a robot.
Yep.
And the robot's like, "Come on, kid, just get out here." And the guy's like, "Oh, are you supposed to be my replacement? Why is he so better than me? Why do I sound like the Prince of All Saiyans, Vegeta?"
Yeah.
And the dad's like, "Get out," and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take all my rage on this robot," because apparently, even though they look almost exactly like a human, they do not have rights. So I feel like I should have the right to kick your cannon because I'm jealous and whatnot. It's just, it's so corny.
Yeah.
And as I say this, it's taking me away from the idea that it's Game of the Year, because I don't care if it's corny. I like Metal Gear Solid. That is like the corniest.
Yeah, but that's different.
Metal Gear.
So interestingly enough, I'm taking a class called what was it? The Social Responsibilities of a Computerized Society, or something. Social Impacts of a Computerized Society. So we were talking about the ethics of AI and using machine learning in the process of hiring people for companies. And one of our discussions in class boiled down to how do you recreate sentience, like emotions, like thoughts. And so having some of these plot holes missing would sort of take away from the immersiveness of the game. Even if it's sci-fi, even if it's made up, just having that missing is enough for it to take away from the game.
Yeah.
And the problem also with this copy-paste editing from Wikipedia, no allegories, of course, is the fact that it's just when you're capable of making such a beautiful game, you must be capable of finding at least one writer who's capable of spinning history in their own way, in at least, as we were just talking about, like more things that make it seem like it's fitting to that world, right? But still relates to like real ongoing issues, because it's amazing. Anytime anybody wants to tackle real societal issues in the right lens or in the right way, I'm all for it. But we can't always be hitting things on the nose.
Yeah, and what they did, basically, the best way to put it is David Cage just looked into the past and he looked at slavery. He looked at late slavery, segregation, and all that.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, no. But he looked right at it, right? And then he just took all of it, just brought it over to 2038 and made them androids instead, and didn't do anything else. There's no other exploration going on so far as I've seen, right? And I don't expect him necessarily to delve into how the androids programming works and what that means to break away from your programming and any of that. I don't think he'll explore those issues because I frankly don't think he has the chops to be able to.
It's funny you should say it like this, because as anybody that's played this game for 20 minutes should know at this point, there are 3 main characters you play.
Yeah.
You got Kara or Kara, you have Marcus, and then you have what is the
Connor,
the agent. Actually, on a side note, what's your guys' favorite character out of the three?
Connor.
I like Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I Connor is funny and whatnot.
Marcus is too corny.
Marcus is too much of a martyr.
Yeah, but he's like a martyr straight out of like a novel, like a movie, like
superhero comic,
like a superhero comic, right? Though I love the actor. I can't remember his name, but he's on Grey's Anatomy, and I watch a lot of that, so I love him.
Mm-hmm.
But
I really like Kara.
Kara is also a solid character.
Yeah.
I like Connor mostly because Connor, and from what I've seen, Connor starts to, as loyal as he is, he starts to question things.
I think the thing that really draws me to Connor as well is Connor shows the best of the gameplay that is there, I would say, because when you're doing the murder investigations and that sort of thing with him as the agent, you do get to actually use the cool aspects of the gameplay system, whereas
that
you
is
don't
very
so much
true. I didn't think about that.
And the others. So Connor gets the full experience, really, I would say. There's a lot of heavy rain in Connor, is the best way to put it. And it's also just fun to see the banter between him and the lieutenant and all that. He's a Boy Scout. It's great.
Yeah, I guess. They give Kara a good couple of heavy rain episodes. I'm not sure how far are you in so far?
I only got to right after the scene you described, actually, where Marcus pushes, or you can choose to or not, but Marcus gets in the fight with Leo, the son. Yep.
Okay, yes. Later on, there's a lot of fight or die situations, between the three of them. Not between the three, but they get their own scenarios.
I have to ask, have you gotten to the point, because I need to know, this is very important, has there been any creepy, suggestive sort of pseudo like sexual assault scenes with Kara? Because he's done that in every one of his games with female characters. Without fail.
You think there was a situation
where it seemed like it could have been?
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. There was one I'm like, she's walking down the stairs to a dungeon. I'm like, this is totally gonna turn into a sex.
It's like a horror movie. Like, why would you? Oh, I heard a creepy noise and all my pets are dying. Let me go down into the basement, into this dark basement that's filled with water, and I've never been down here in 6 years.
In this scene, like, you need to get out of here. This is a terrible idea. And she's like, we can do it. That's okay. And then it turns out Scooby-Doo. But there is another scene that involves them going to an android
brothel,
a gentleman club, I guess you could call it. So you will get to see stuff like that. I haven't seen that scene with Kara yet. We haven't gotten the naked shower scene yet. Sorry to say.
Well, because I was gonna say, generally, it's just something that it's a story that he really likes to focus on.
I guess it's because he's French. Europeans are a little bit more
shower me like one of your French girls.
Well, he just likes to have these scenes, no matter what game it is he's in. He always likes to have these scenes where the female character gets in this really like scary scenario that's a clear sexual assault scenario, like borderline rape scenario, and it happens in pretty much every game. Like I remember it in Beyond Two Souls. I remember it in Heavy Rain. It might be in Omicron. I'm not sure. And I think there's one in Indigo Prophecy as well. So,
well, it has a completely different connotation to it, but she is put into that scenario that I've played up to, like at maybe the 5-6 hour mark. You'll know what I'm talking about. It doesn't directly reference to anything like sexual assault, but I wouldn't doubt it because I looked it up. I looked up how long to beat Detroit Become Human, and it's interesting. Because the range of beating it is from 11 to 20 hours.
That's a big range.
Depending on how fast you accidentally kill off all your characters.
But like getting to that point, the scene with Kara we were just talking about, the timeline of events for that, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. It's insane how many choices there are. And the person I was watching play, he made a choice and it skipped like half the timeline.
Really?
So, yeah, not half the timelines. Over
you're making me feel bad. I was like, because there's been I goofed up once or twice. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh crap, I accidentally killed off one of the characters, and then they came back. I'm like, oh thank God. Okay, so hopefully I don't. Does that mean I missed half his storyline, and I just haven't seen him in a while? But also, I want to point out, screw trailers, because I was looking up a trailer for a different game in our game release this week.
Yep.
And it did a trailer ad for Detroit Become Human. Showed more things I've never seen before. Like I'm like showing this guy with this thing, showing this this person doing this. I'm like, I didn't know they're going to do that. It has absolutely no reference to like actual story beat spoilers, but I don't want to see them doing that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those are probably some of the old E3 conference footages, because I know they've done the Connor one like the past 2 years or something like that. But before that, they had a Kara one, and then they had a Marcus one that's well later in the story as well. So that might have been what was going on.
Yeah. No, the Marcus one, that I think that was one they debuted with. That happens quite late in the story.
Okay. Still, I'd like to point out that the whole being able to access or use actions and stuff, the whole, quarter turn of a thumbstick really messed with me like the first 10 minutes. Got totally used to it because it feels like I'm doing Street Fighter moves.
It still seems really janky though, like later on, except for Connor. It seems really janky for Kara and Marcus.
I do get frustrated every now and then because sometimes it's like right in front of me, it says, do a quarter from bottom to the right, and I do it, but some reason it thinks I'm not actually close enough, so it just rotates the camera instead, pans to the right. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's tough too, because they developed this whole sort of gameplay system back in like 2010 with Heavy Rain, I believe, and then they haven't really changed it since. They haven't, done anything major to fix those problems, because people have had complaints all the way through. Beyond Two Souls was terrible with that, when you had to dodge punches and you just had to do it on the direction of the body, maybe arms, and you didn't have prompts. And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. So they really just need to, for the next game, definitely fix something about the system. So
there is a lot of things besides non-allegorial references that, like, I'm not kidding. I really did tear up. I don't know if it's because I was hungover from drinking too much vodka. And, but there are some serious moments in the very beginning of the game that, abuse and whatnot. I got very upset because there was things that they were telling me that I could and could not do as a android. And it's like, do I obey the game or do I personally break out? Like, there was a command that told me, don't you dare freaking move.
I remember that. Yep.
And you got to stand there. It's like, do I stop this person from doing terrible things to his daughter? Or do I just sit there, win the game by not doing anything? And it's like, that's not winning a game. I can't allow that. And it's exactly what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to question and doubt authority because, all adults are bad.
They wanted you to become human.
I think on that aspect, on the psychological, some parts of it, like, they've done really well, despite the story and the writing being on the nose. The way they portrayed some actions, like the scenario you just described, where it forces you to make a choice whether you want to play the game or you want to be yourself.
Right.
And there are some truly like heartwarming moments. One of my favorite characters is not a playable character. His name is Luther. I love Luther.
Oh, Luther. Yep, he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, it won't spoil anything for you. But yeah, no, like, even without playing, I'd give it a solid 6.5, 7. Just because
That's so heartbreaking.
Just because I haven't played it.
Yeah, right? I swear, if you were to have to play this game, fresh experience, I feel like it would totally affect you differently. And I mean, I do recognize that there's some games that are hit and miss with me. A great game that people talk about and praise the high heavens, I'll play it. I'm like, it's crap. But then there's some games where it's like nobody else, it's like, wow, this game's actually fantastic. Wow, why are you guys not, praising this thing like it's crazy? And to me right now, Detroit Become Human, it's so good. I've been absorbed with the story beats the entire time. And yes, I recognize that things are over the top, as Cam says. I don't care. I'm so used to over-exaggerated game, functions that this is something, normal to me. And maybe if they don't want to do it passive, casual stuff, they're afraid people won't get the proper vibe. They're like, oh, this is a boring story about aliens who want, to make wishes to the fairy godmothers to become human. No, there's reasons why these things want to have human emotion and logic. And the correlation between that and the adjustment to humans not liking them at all. Sorry, I really phrased that wrong. But I guess my point is, I've never considered the idea of what it would be like for an android to be that level of humanity or human and the results of that. Now, I do want to make it interesting because the whole mentions of the 3 pathways, I mean, one essentially is like on the side of the law. And it's like, you know, the cop that gets looked on by everybody. And then you got another person that is doing the, I'm being persecuted to the high heavens. So now I got to do something that's actually well known as the great, the Underground Railroad, similar thing. And then there's a third thing that eventually evolves. And this is light spoilers. I'll put it very loosely. They start, you know, the Black Panthers group kind of thing. And it's like, okay, David Cage, you say there's no allegories. However, you are making a lot of
clear allegories.
It's you know, fist
There's
bumps.
no allegories, Tyler. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry, David Cage. I'm sorry. I know the Black Panther group. Why am I saying Black Panther? That's a movie, but
No, I think you're right though. It is a movie and just a movie, and the superhero in the comics.
Well, they like there's running, revolution, and trying to make things right from the inside out. And each person has this type of story, and I'm okay with that. It's exaggerated in some ways, and I don't know what to expect. I was kind of hoping that the three of them would interact with each other more. So far, I've only seen one scene of two people getting close to each other. Mm-hmm. No one's actually talked to each other yet. That's kind of frustrating for me. So I guess take that for what you will. It's three different stories that have, you know, similar impacts on each other. And I'm kind of hoping to see what it's like at the end, because I feel like there's an overlooming mystery, as Cam kind of mentioned, like what makes them so smart and how can they be human? Like they haven't mentioned it yet. There's been references like, oh, you know, you are the smartest prototype that we've made so far. But there's something going on, and people or these robots are doing things on their own volition, and we don't know why. You need to find out. Mm-hmm. And it's all happening in Detroit for some reason, because that's where we put the game. Yep.
No, it's difficult because, like, if you think about it,
I'm thinking about it.
At what point does a machine become human, right? Beyond like the direct reference to the video game, like at what point do we start classifying things as, oh, having humanistic characteristics? And what if they were just programmed to be that way and then we don't know? So again, like some of these things, just because of the kind of courses I'm taking and then me seeing playthrough of it and then reading articles to catch up for this episode, it's just very, it's very immersion breaking to having even if they reveal it all the way at the end as to what happened, there's always things that you can do via storytelling that sort of tells you, okay, something happened. There's nothing here that tells you in any way what happened.
Yeah, and wherever you're going to fall in terms of the, you know, the sentience thing, you know, that depends on where you fall in terms of free will and determinism in the first place, because it could also just apply to humans, whatever you apply to androids. But yeah,
there's no allegories.
No Android, not at all.
No,
my big overarching feeling though is like I really like over the top stuff. It's some of my favorite stuff. I like the silly stuff. I like crazy over the top stuff. But what he's doing is trying to write a very, very pushed forward, ham-fisted, on the nose story and playing it off as profound. And that's what I don't respect. If it was played off like some sort of, you know, if it was a big silly android story with big silly goofy androids and goofy android stuff, great, awesome, you know, fun times. But it's the part where the attempting to be deep and attempting to tell some sort of, you know, deep, profound story while not doing that, and every beat that you're setting up being some sort of surface level writing. I wouldn't say sin necessarily, but it's just a matter of anybody. I'll put it this way, right? Anybody can decide they're going to make a story about androids being oppressed and then just have people kick them around, right? It takes somebody much more well-versed in writing to say, okay, but how are we going to show this in ways that are realistic? How are we going to show this in ways that are unique, subtle, and nuanced, and not in just yeah, oh, you're oppressed sort of way? Because what it feels like right now is you're getting a finger pointed at you, or you're getting pushed into a corner and yelled at, you are oppressed, you are oppressed, you are oppressed. And that's the way that they show you're oppressed versus telling you through the game.
I mean, there's a difference between told you're oppressed and then feeling like it.
I mean, with, I guess, Connor, that does make sense. The just a constant pressure of him being in that inner sphere of oppression, if we're going to call it that. But I feel like they also give good reasons. Like, for example, Kara, the reason why she's in such trouble is not really because they keep saying, oh, she's oppressed. You know, we have a bad dysfunctional setting that she's put in, and eventually she's forced to make a hard choice that breaks her own logic of, being an android. She has to make that decision. And it doesn't really show her being oppressed strictly so much. I mean, the guy's yelling at her, doesn't, turn on the dang lights, give me my water. You dirty androids took my job. Now I hired one.
Oh yeah. It's super open with that too. It's, I remember a really good one where you get in front of the TV and he yells at you too and stuff like that. But yeah, no, the abuse scene, I like the abuse scene more in terms of that, because that can be, depending on, like, there is abuse that's like that. There is abuse that's that pervasive and stuff like that. But I don't believe he wrote that knowing how abuse works. I think he wrote that because that's how he thinks abuse works. And he happened to be correct in a crazy scenario. Because he thinks that abuse is, always 100% of the time going to be like, oh, you're bad at everything. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to, everything you're doing is shit. Go do this.
Yeah, it's kind of out of the blue how mad he gets too. And now I understand that, androids might have took his job. So his response, instead of supporting his family, is to immediately go into a fictional drug habit.
Yeah.
And then, give up finding a job, delve into drugs and booze, drive his, significant other out with his issues, and then proceeds to take it all out on his daughter because apparently it's her fault.
Yep. There was
a
man
who used to work at the printing press and then now bought a one of the new paper company bought a new printing press and just keeps it in the corner of his house and yells at it every day, gets like gets into a drinking problem, takes it out on his child. It's like the same thing, right? So some of it is a bit
and then he buys an iPad which can show his newspaper on it. And he's like, this is your fault. You took my job away.
The scene in that actually had me laughing just a little bit, was he tells you to go do the laundry. And if you go to do the laundry, in the bleach for the laundry, you find his drugs. And he told you to do the laundry. Yeah, he told you to go do the laundry. And
I never got told to do laundry.
There are drugs in there. And then he comes and chokes you for finding the drugs in the laundry he told you to do. It's a fun time.
That is some Uncle Vernon Harry Potter level crap. There's no such thing as drugs. Let me shake you for a little bit. I'm just a victim of certain. I don't care. I don't want to have you face my own problems.
Yeah.
Oh, but there are no allegories though. Not even to Harry Potter. That didn't happen.
No,
you're wrong.
Never.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
No, crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, final verdict for first impressions of Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, what I expected. Kind of like what I said at the beginning.
Okay.
Not saying that's the worst thing in the world, but I expected a sort of like, oh yeah, it's going to be a beautiful visual and writing wise, like a David Cage kind of game where it's going to be on the nose, and it was so far. But that's kind of where I'm at. Definitely worth a play. It's not something to ignore. It's worth a play 100%. But I'm not blown away by it or anything like that, really.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah. If I had a PS4, I'd buy it. I'd buy it and play through it. How much is it, by the way, out of curiosity?
60.
60
I wouldn't pay that
dollars.
much.
I don't. Yeah. Whatever. Canadian.
79. It'll be 79.99 over here.
I would say that this is a fantastic game and definitely best of its kind. I can't think of a similar, choosing, Aquatic Dream style game. I mean, maybe there could be a Telltale kind of game that could, surpass it, but I really don't think so. I don't think a Telltale game has enough beauty in it to be able to pull it off.
I think Walking Dead, the first season of Walking Dead, does beat most of the Quantic Dream games, but that's just me.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, definitely one of my favorite games. Probably my favorite game to come out this year besides God of War. It's a good close second. Well, if we're gonna put a nail in that, since we're almost an hour in, I guess we should start on the rest of the crap.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go into questions. We have 2 questions. The first one is, what is the longest consecutive time you spent binging on a game? Now, this isn't like total over the course of a year. How many hours straight have you sat down and just plowed right through a game?
Okay, so without break, basically.
I mean, we can allow 10-minute breaks to the pee and eat and stuff.
Yeah.
Not, I got to go to work. No, there's no work. This is probably going to be during high school or unemployment periods.
Yep. So can I clarify, is this so if we go to sleep, it's over. So this is like in a single day, how much?
Yeah. Like,
okay. Or we stayed up.
Unless you want to bring up new rules to this whole thing, do we allow 5 to 8 hours of sleep for this?
Right. Yeah, because I would say, yes. Yeah, all right, cool.
As soon as you wake up, you're playing.
All right. Yep. For me, then, I think either Skyrim at launch in 2011, because that was about, I think, a week straight of just sleeping very little and playing that. And then similarly, Breath of the Wild, because I was on spring break and I wasn't doing anything the whole week. So I played, I think 66 hours
That's a good use of spring break. That's like a 10 out of 10 use of break. Fantastic. Good job.
I think I did 66 hours in 6 days. So I think that's mine, but Skyrim might have beat that.
It's funny you should say that because for me, it was the exact same time period, but a different game.
Oh.
It's not as long as you. It was for probably 3 days. Anytime I was awake and able to do, not work or anything, like I'm talking like maybe 10 hours, 14-hour days put into this game until I was able to beat it. And then I tried 100%ing it. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Like I said, came out around the same time Skyrim did. It was weird because I was living with my parents at the time, and they ran a flea market during the weekend. Like they ran a store.
Oh, that's lucky.
But the problem was they wanted me to help them work during the weekend. Look at these Pokemon cards and try to figure out how much they cost, son. That way I can sell them off and not ever give them to you. Thank you, Dad. Great childhood. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. He let me have quite a bit of Pokemon cards. However, I refused to go to work with them because I didn't get paid. It was more like I do that, I get to have a roof over my head. I told the dad, I'm locking myself in this house. I'm playing nothing but Skyward Sword until this game is over or until I die. And I'd wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd play until 8 or 9 at night until I passed out, and then I would eat very quickly and go right back into it. And this happened 3 or 4 days in a row. And eventually, my dad's like, "You need to get off this game." I was like, "Well, that's okay. I have like 80% of the heart pieces, and I beat the game already." So I was actually going to do hero mode, but you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have to put another 30, 40 hours into this game. I guess I'll have a life. But then he was like, "Why don't you sell that game? That way you can get some money back." Nope. Sell that game to this day. I refuse to sell a Zelda game unless it's Triforce Heroes.
Yep. Don't. So I would just say, as a collector, right? Don't sell your games in general, because I always regret it. If I haven't, but if I've lost them or something, or if I threw out the cases, I always regretted it every time.
There are some disgusting people out there that have the gall to say, after I beat a game, I'd much rather have the money than the chance to replay the memories. And those people are horrible people.
Bad people.
I'm not going to name names.
For me, it's funny, too, because often I won't even replay them, but having them is important.
It's satisfying knowing that you have the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I guess I'm a bigger fan of digital, because I don't have much of a choice unless the system blows up. But like, I still have a whole slew of GameCube and Wii games and Wii U games. I don't even have a Wii anymore. I guess I could play it on the Wii U. I don't even think my GameCube works. Doesn't matter. I want to keep those games. I have games that are worth like $100 and $150 up there that, I will not sell, even if I was like the most broke, because the memories are more important than selling it off. Now, for people that don't have the space, probably shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Maybe you're a hoarder. I'm sorry. Maybe should have thought about that before. But yes, I was afraid to say this before on different shows. I am happy to openly say it here on Casual Master Quest. I don't like people that sell their games.
Ooh,
especially if they sell their games within like 2 weeks of the buying it. I did it once because I was unemployed at the time, like last year. I was very upset with myself. I sold off Mario Rabbids, or Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and ARMS.
That's okay then. That's okay.
Now, Mario plus Rabbids was a fantastic game. ARMS, I played for all of an hour and a half and immediately never played it again. So it's like, I told myself, I'm never going to touch this again. Problem is, though, I love Mario plus Rabbids, but I really wanted Super Mario Odyssey.
And it's a good choice, because when you sell Mario X Rabbids, you don't have to have Rabbids in your house, and that's a good thing. So
look, I would never play another Rabbids game unless I was in high school. It's still a great game, man, even if it had those damn things in it.
We were talking about Android racism. I have Rabbid racism. I hate Rabbids a lot. They're worse than Minions. No, I say this a lot. They're worse than Minions.
They are the progenitor of Minions.
I know, but they're worse because
at least purest form of evil.
At least Minions try to talk. Rabbids just scream. They just scream. It's
what are you
not
talking
great.
about? They make gutter like
yeah. I don't like Rabbids.
Take a selfie.
It's a joke. It's a joke on the other shows and stuff. But me and Rabbids don't get along.
So it stinks because I do like get annoyed whenever I see product of Minions, and I feel like I would be even more upset if I saw a Rabbids t-shirt or a Rabbids backpack, but you don't get to see that stuff. So, out of sight, out of mind, I guess.
Oh yeah, yep. That's definitely a way to go about that. Yeah.
Bless you, Rayman Legends. Great game though.
Poor Rayman though.
So this kind of ties to the second question. What is your unpopular gaming opinion this week? I think I put mine down already. People that sell their games, especially the sooner the worse, they're terrible people.
Yeah. So you didn't even ask me what my consecutive time.
So how long have you, Nick? How long have you spent the longest time binging on a game? Good say.
I'm waiting for the I don't know now. Like after calling out.
I mean, I don't know, only in the sense that like my longest in a day was that one day where I played Destiny 1 on a Saturday from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m.
So 23 straight hours. Now, did you play it the next day too? Like,
yeah, no, we played the night before. We played earlier that day too, break for lunch. We played the day before. We put in crazy amount of hours. And this was when we were like first year, second year. So we had the time for it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like a game as a whole and just binging over days, that's hard. It'll come down to between RimWorld, Stardew Valley, and The Witcher 3. Because those games, all I wanted to do was wake up and play.
Yeah, you didn't want to live.
That was my I do have some dark periods. I was going to use my example for World of Warcraft, where it's like sun up to sundown, or the opposite, sundown to sun up, depending on how late I wanted to stay. And I've had those nights. I know you laugh, Nick, because no,
I know what it's like.
Like when you see the sun up, and you're like, oh, okay, mistakes were made. Time to get breakfast. Let's power through it, or just pass out and wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and say, "Oh man, I'm late. I got to keep playing."
Well, I'm late. Might as well not go and just keep doing what I was doing.
Well, I'm sorry, Nick. That was rude of me to cut you out. You are first for this. What is your unpopular gaming opinion of this week? Even though I already give mine, so I guess you're not first. Oh well. You want to preach to the masses? What's something that you want to say?
I've got nothing. I'm
trying to think of the hottest take I can pull out.
I'm same.
I'm trying. Well,
Detroit Become Human is a potential Game of the Year contender, and I think
that's false.
An unpopular opinion. That's a very unpopular opinion. So I can
between us, it might be really popular on the internet. So I guess
so far from what I've seen on the internet, everyone's kind of making fun of the game.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw an article that said Detroit Become Human is a dumb butt game.
That's a good article.
That was
wow. Classy. Is that a Kotaku article?
No, I have no idea.
I'm sure. What's it called? They're actually sitting at a 79 right now on Metacritic. And if you've looked at the video game scores are weighted differently, a 79 on Metacritic's not great.
That's so disappointing. Man, somebody put me on, Quantic Dreams. If you want to like try to shoehorn me into a video game, critic standpoint of high power, I will like praise you to the high heavens. Just retweet everything I say, okay? Just check me out.
I'm trying to think about what would be an unpopular gaming opinion that I could throw out. I'm trying to think of the hottest take I have.
My unpopular gaming opinion is that I think Microsoft is going to do great at E3 this year.
I won't disagree with that. I will not disagree with that because Microsoft does a good job at E3 every single year, but then fails to actually do what they said.
Oh no, but I think Microsoft's going to follow through this time.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
okay. So it's moved on to like
untrue.
now it's like now I want to validate that.
No, but no, have you guys seen the new controller they put out?
Yes. The building controller. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
What about that Pro controller for the PlayStation 4? People, come on, it looks sweet. I'm not kidding. It looked cool.
Yes, it did. But
it's like $150 controller too. Oh,
yeah, the new Pro controller.
Man, we are burning through time since we don't have much for the news since we, add all for the topic of the show, baby.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get an unpopular opinion out. I got to think of something. I need some motivations, right?
Let's see. What are popular video game tropes this year? PS4 has no games. No, that's not even true anymore. Switch
Xbox has no games.
Switch has been doing crazy too much ports. It doesn't have any good original games coming out.
Okay, I don't believe that, but so I don't have that opinion. But
Okay.
that is one.
The Vita will be strong this year.
Hey man, I'm not. Listen,
I
Love's
don't
coming out.
believe in that.
Love's coming out in June, physical. But hey, you know, it might be. It might be. I could go with physical games. Physical games. Oh no, actually, this isn't really an unpopular opinion, but it should be said that what's it called, always online games are a huge mistake and a huge problem.
I mean, I feel like that's only divisive between people that play the games and people that make the games.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say then, okay, how about Gen 5? Pokemon Gen 5 is actually really, really good.
Let's see. Gen 5, that is
Black and white. Yep.
Is Black and White 2 Gen 6 technically, or is that also
Black 2 and White 2 are still Gen 5?
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
I have conflicting feelings about Gen 5.
I've never played Pokemon Black and White.
So
Black 2, White 2 were fantastic games.
People hate Gen 5.
I think the designers for the Pokemon of Gen 5 were a little high.
Wait, actually, no. Black and White's the one where they have N, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have played the first one, but I played just the beta, I think, on an emulator, but I never touched 2 for sure. Like, I didn't get into it like I did before with Ruby and Sapphire, but oh, sorry, Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl I played a lot of. Yeah. And of course, right after that was
I put 225 hours into Platinum.
Is Sun and Moon after Black and White too?
No, yes. X and Y.
No, X and Y.
X and Y. Yep. Okay, I played a lot of that one too, but Black and White I barely touched.
Yeah, a lot of people really didn't like it. I actually recorded an entire side contents worth of episode on why Gen 5 should be appreciated more. I don't think it's up anywhere right now. Oh no, it's actually, I don't know if it might be up on my other project site. I don't know, but I don't know.
I mean, if you need a place to put it,
yeah, maybe. Well, it was up on SoundCloud for a while, but I think I took it down to put up Pokemon rumor talks. So, but yeah. So that's one right there. Other than that, you know, the Vita's underappreciated. The Vita was great, of course. People didn't respect it as much as it should have.
Yes,
the Vita was great.
Maybe the 3DS needs to die, but I think a lot of people are coming around to that.
No, actually, I think the 3DS needs an update, and it actually needs 2 foldable screens that come out from underneath it because you can't have too many screens.
Yep, like, 4DS?
No, it's an 8DS.
8DS.
Ooh. The 3DS needs an update where what you do is you take the screen, right, and you extend it a little bit, and you put 2 detachable controllers on the side.
Oh, don't forget the I thought you were gonna say turn it into a Vita. So I was gonna say don't forget the backwards.
But the true update that the 3DS really needs.
The joke is just have Switch.
You just chuck it out of your window.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It's old.
Oh man, I can see my 3DS down there. It's all dusty and crap.
No, I will never get rid of it. My 3DS will just sit in the corner forever. But you know,
it would still hold a charge too.
It will still hold a charge. That's the amazing thing about Nintendo's hardware philosophy, at least to some parts of it.
If you turn that thing off and you leave it alone for 2 years, it'll still have a full charge.
It will still have a full charge. Yeah, and they always design things with the kids dropping it in their mind.
Yep.
So whenever they're designing stuff, they're like, all right, let's start dropping things and then see how we can make it not break on the first.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. I dropped a 2DS and shattered the screen.
Yeah, you're just unlucky, Tyler.
Well, to be fair, the Nintendo mines actually ran out after the DS era. So it started becoming a little bit more brittle after that because they were using Nintendium, which was the strongest substance known to man.
Yes.
Yeah, that was unbreakable.
The only thing that's stronger than Nintendium is Nokium.
Yep.
I was going to say, notable references is adamantium, which is the material used in Wolverine's also the wrapping around the 1990s.
No, but that's a comic book, Tyler. We need to talk about real materials.
Okay, like sorry. Nintendium. But the wrappings around 1990 CDs were so vicious, you could not get that thing ripped apart, save your life. Well, crap. Game releases? Let's do game releases. Keep it going. Game releases. Harvest Moon, Light of Hope, coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Switch. Now,
I've never played a Harvest Moon game.
Don't worry, me neither. In fact, it was funny. The last thing I was supposed to do was to play Harvest Moon for a game history lesson thing. And I watched 2 hours and I was like, I'm never going to play this game. This is terrible.
So there's a thing with modern Harvest Moon that's really interesting where modern Harvest Moon isn't the same game as Harvest Moon in the past was.
Right, Tale of Seasons, isn't it?
Right, it's Story of Seasons. There was a spin-off where I think it's Natsume, the actual Japanese developers started making Story of Seasons, and then the Western developers continued making Harvest Moon. So they're not the same people behind it, and the games have a lot of people feel they've suffered in quality since the scores haven't been as high and all that. So I know I have a friend who's very much into those sort of sim games, and she's just completely ignoring this one. Just because, you know, she feels that between the other options that have been out for a few years, she's been getting in on those. But yeah, so this Harvest Moon may not be the same as ones you played in the past, but it's not going to be a terrible game. It'll probably just be okay, decent.
Ikaruga coming out for the Switch also this week.
I have no idea what that is. What is
that? Shoot 'em up.
It's a bullet hell game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically a top-down, you know, trying to dodge energy balls of death. Also, they have terrible human trailers attached to his ads. That was very upsetting.
So it's just like a fun shoot 'em up game.
Yeah, Ikaruga is actually, it's the historical successor to a game called Radiant Silvergun, which was a Sega Saturn game. And this was originally on the Dreamcast. It was on GameCube as well. Now they're finally bringing it to Switch. And, you know, that's a really great thing to have on Switch because, man, there's this co-op, and that's perfect for it, honestly, with Joy-Cons. So.
Well, you know what's not coming out on the Switch? That is the Sega Genesis Classic Collection. So many different games for the Sega Genesis, all bundled up. It was originally 4 discs worth of games because there was 4 different volumes. This one has all 4 of them combined into one, coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, but not Switch because apparently Switch is not cool. Still can't figure that one out. Kind of, you know, messed with me.
Yeah, it might come to it later or something, but
yeah, but I thought about that too last time that this something like this came out from Sega. It just got skipped.
And however, they removed a few things. They removed 2 Echo games. Echo?
Yep.
Team Echo?
Echo the Dolphin and Echo the Tides of Time.
Echo. I thought you meant Echo like Shadow of the Colossus and
Echo, yeah.
And then they removed Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ooh, ow, that hurt.
Those are some heavy hitters. Why would they do that? Just shoot.
They've added Alien Soldier, Biohazard Battle, Columns 3, Crackdown, Galaxy Force 2, Gunstar Heroes, Landstalker, Light Crusader, Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi, Space Harrier 2, Sword of Vermilion, The Revenge of Shinobi, Toe Jam and Earl in Panic on Funkotron, Toe Jam and Earl, Virtua Fighter 2, Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair, Wonder Boy in Monster.
Breathe sometime, Nick.
I'm done.
Okay.
Alien Soldier is, I don't actually know if we got a port of that in North America, but it was in Europe and it was in Japan. That's probably one of the best looking 16-bit era games that there are. Everybody really needs to take a look at Alien Soldier. My friend actually imported a copy. It was a repro cart, but we played it over at my house on the Genesis, and it was awesome. It was awesome. The fluidity of the animation, even with the being, you know, 16-bit and sprite and that sort of thing, it was absolutely beautiful. So that's really cool that the Alien Soldier's there. Also, Gunstar Heroes, awesome. That's really good too. That's a also a shoot 'em up of sorts, one could say. So stuff in there.
Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition coming out for everything except for the Vita and 3DS. Rip. Pretty much any home console you can think of, plus the PC, it's coming out. All of these are marked for May 29th, which is weird because that is not a Friday. That is a Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if these are placeholder dates, but you think they'd either do the 1st or the 31st. So
what's called game releases traditionally are either Tuesday or Friday. So that it's on a Tuesday means it's probably coming out on Tuesday.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, they're not big name things, so I mean, I guess they could be a big name for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool too because this is the 30th anniversary collection, right? So they have, oh, you hear some noise below me. Sorry about that. There's a motorcycle going on. But they have all the Street Fighter games, all the versions of the Alpha games and all of that, and all the way up to, I don't remember if they have 1 or 4. If they don't have 4 or not, I don't remember. There might have been some controversy about that they didn't have 4, but they had everything else. But I don't remember whether it had 4 or not. But still, you had, you know, 1, 2, all the versions of 2, 3, all the alphas, all of that, Third Strike, all the good stuff. So there's a lot in there.
Fair enough. Well, that was the show from the, you know, in a nutshell. We are actually almost right on schedule. We have 5 minutes left to pretty much wrapping stuff up here. Nick, go ahead. I know you want to do it because I removed this from the segment and it magically reappeared. So if you want to talk about a certain topic, go right ahead.
All I want to do is remind people about St. Jude's and Guardian Con and what they're doing to raise money for childhood cancer. If you go to guardiancon.co, you'll be able to find links to donate and then maybe help eradicate childhood cancer.
Yep. Put that in the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I guess, well, I guess you can email us over at casualmasterquest or at gmail.com.
If you feel like it.
If you feel like it, you can totally send us questions, comments, and concerns, whatnot. We'd love to hear it. So far, I keep hearing wonderful deals from people who want to make my podcast big. Yep. All of them bots, and the constant people just repeat them themselves.
I'm surprised you haven't taken any of them up on their offers.
I've counter offered them, but they never respond. Like, I tell you what, give me a year trial.
Yeah,
I'll make it happen.
I'll make it happen. I only ever got one real one of those, actually. That was actually a thing that was like, oh wow, this is a real thing, and it worked. So yeah, there's a lot out there, man.
Yes, a lot of scam stuff. Our team on Twitter is at MasterQuestPod. All podcasts and game can be found on our YouTube channel, which we'll link with the Twitter because we don't have the cool 100 subscribers yet. Next episode. Nope, sorry, 2 more episodes. We'll get to be on Spotify once we have 5 episodes to throw on. So hopefully, if you like Spotify, that's where we will be back in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
You can find myself on Twitter at 2timestyler. Nick, where can we find you, bud?
You can find me on Twitter at LRWarrior11 and also on Mixer at mixer.com/LRWarrior11. And I stream very sporadically right now, but that's my main places to be.
I mean, can people for Mixer look at previous streams if they?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But this is the first time I've ever been anywhere on the internet with a camera. So yeah, so there's all no cam streams. Yeah, so I made my internet debut right here.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my green screen over there when I used to green screen myself when I played video games. It was terrible and fun. Camp, where can we find you?
You can find me over at Cam Collects on Twitter, also at twitch.tv/Cam Collects, where I stream Monday nights at 7 and Saturday mornings at 9. Those are both in Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. I guess I'm trying to think of a good joke or something here. What's the difference between an android and a father?
Nothing. What? No allegories.
Oh, I was going to say it. An android can support a family. No, I'm just kidding. That's terrible.
I see what you're doing there. All right, cool.
Anyways, the joke was I goofed up in the joke.
The joke is the car situation with the bad dad. That's the joke.
Yeah, sure.
Bad dad joke.
Anyways, that was Casual Master Quest episode 3. We got to talk quite a bit about Detroit Become Human. Next week, we'll dive into the dirty with E3.
Yeah, it's time.
Oh man, it's time. I've been pushing it off because here's my second unpopular opinion. I hate E3.
Okay, yeah, that's controversial. You should have used that one. You should have used that one.
I
want a divorce.
E3.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing of the year. It's actually my favorite days in the entire year. So we have to fight now.
I like my announcements sprinkled throughout the year. I don't like this big fancy event that I can't go to and otherwise suffer if I wanted to be there physically. I never get a chance to go, actually watch these things live, so it never gave me a chance to be interested in anyways. I don't like E3.
Everybody should just use their work vacation to do E3. That's what I do. It's definitely the best use of your vacation as far as I'm concerned. So,
well, okay. It's funny because I actually requested a few days off to go to a different convention over in Columbus, Ohio, GeeklyCon. Have you guys heard of a podcast called Drunks and Dragons?
Maybe briefly. I can assume what it is.
It's a D&D podcast, and they got their own convention, once a year. I'm hoping to get to it. And then, of course, did we get the confirmation from you, Nick, for going to oh crap, what is that convention called over in Florida?
Called GuardianCon.
GuardianCon.
Yeah, I booked my tickets, my hotel, my hostel, everything like a month and a half ago.
Nice.
So
now do you need a passport since you're coming in from Canada?
Yes, I do, because I'm not a Canadian citizen, right? And I'm still an Indian citizen.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I need a passport. I'm flying from Vancouver to Dallas to Florida, to Tampa Bay.
I am so sorry for the heat wave and humidity that you're gonna see once you get to Houston. I am so sorry.
Well, back home in Dubai, this summer it's gonna hit about 52, and it's always 90,000% humidity. So I'm, it's for a few days I can deal with it.
Good time.
52. That's Celsius.
Yeah,
52 Celsius. Oh, my bad. I apologize. I apologize to any of our.
No, it's okay. That's approximately 108.
No, it's 125. 125.6 Fahrenheit.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Okay, geez, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to never stop the grind. See you guys.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
I love you.
Bye. Love you.
Oh, I haven't even stopped the podcast.
You gotta
Still
stop
going.
the podcast.
No, I will not.